Welcome back. This is Aleida.
And this is Gabriella.
And we are A Tale of Two Readers.
Today we're going to be doing a video that will hopefully be part of a series on our channel called Badass Bitches. And we're going to just talk about some of our favorite female leads in stories. Or I guess they don't have to be leads. They could be any
any characters
character
that we like. All right, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to be talking about two different characters actually from Lisbeth Salander books. So the first book is The Poet X, and I'm going to be talking about Siamata. And I'm also going to be talking about Imani from With the Fire on High. In The Poet X, I just related to a lot of what Siamata was going through and just the way that she was kind of growing as a person. She was raised in a really religious family, and I was as well. She's kind of going through a lot of self-discovery and figuring out her own path and what she wants in life, even if it's really different from how she was raised and what she knows. So I just really admired that about her. I think it's very brave to stray so far from what your family has taught you and what is like acceptable to them. But she discovers a lot about herself and her sexuality and what she loves to do. She discovers slam poetry.
I love that.
Yeah, she ends up joining a club of other poets and performing, and that's something that is just really interesting to me. And the whole novel is actually told in verse, so you can see it's like different poems, which I love. It makes it a really quick and easy read. But I just thought she was a super lovable and inspiring main character, and I just loved seeing her grow. Imani is a teen mom, and she's a senior in high school, but she actually had her daughter when she was a freshman, I believe. So her daughter's already a couple years old. And I think that it was just very eye-opening for me to read about somebody like who was a teen mom, because you know, you see teen moms in your high school and stuff, and there's just a lot of judgment there. So it was really cool for me to read about a girl who was a teen mom, and she was a really good mom, and she was also just really going after her own passions in life. And I just thought that was really inspiring to see her be so well-rounded. She was another one who was just really bold and brave. I think that that's something that Lisbeth Salander writes really well, is just like brave girls.
Do you think if she was older, do you think that she would have still kept the baby? Because at 14, you know so little about, like, you really have no idea what it takes to raise a child.
Yeah.
You know, was it that ignorance that made her choose to keep it, you think? Or
I'm
is
not
she just
sure.
a strong
I think it just
spirit?
I think it's a little bit of both, maybe. I think she maybe just had no idea what she was getting herself into, but she also just felt like intuitively that she wanted to keep the baby. Because she talks about the scene where she goes to like Planned Parenthood or another clinic like that and talks with the doctor, and they give her kind of all of her options. And she says that it's more of just something that she just feels. Like, she doesn't really talk about the decision too much. It's just like that was the only decision for her. Okay. And I don't think there was any point where she regrets it, really. She is a really good mom, like I said, and her daughter is like gives her purpose in life. And like, there's a couple different times where she's really struggling throughout the book, and she talks about how she just wants to go home and be with her daughter. Like, she'll be at school and she's like, I just wish I was with baby girl right now. That's what they call her. And I love that. I loved their relationship. It was really sweet and well done.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to do. I can't imagine. I mean, raising a daughter as an adult is a bitch, but
yeah.
But to be 14, my goodness, and you have to have. Does she have like a good support system in place, or?
Not like really. Her grandmother is like her biggest supporter, and her grandmother actually raised her because her mom died in childbirth, I believe, and her father after that kind of
Bailed.
like, yeah, he still talks to her on the phone and stuff, but like he's not really around much because it's so hard for him after his wife died, like to be around his daughter. He's just constantly reminded of his wife. So he's not really in the picture. But she has her grandmother, and her grandmother is a really strong woman, and they're super close. So she has her, and then the baby's father is still in the picture, and he takes her on weekends, and he does a really good job with her.
Interesting.
They aren't together, but he's really good with their daughter. So that's, you know, the most important thing. So she has somewhat of a support system.
Okay. That's good.
But, you know, I think even if she didn't, like, she's just so tough and strong.
Determined.
Yeah, she's really, and she also has a really close best friend. I forget the girl's name, but they're just super tight. And it's the same way in The Poet X. It's just really strong female friendships that I think make the main characters even stronger and more of a badass. It's just these other women they have alongside them supporting them.
Yeah. And I can't stand that trope of, you know, women being catty towards each other,
Yeah.
or, you know, they're women, so, you know, they're not going to, there's always going to be trauma.
There's
like,
none of that in these books. There's actually,
nice.
there's a conversation where her best friend came out as being a lesbian, and she remembers, like, thinking, like, I have to stand by her and be as strong for her as she was for me when, you know, I was pregnant and walking around school. People would judge her and come up to her, and her best friend would be like, like, you're not talking to my best friend like that. And so she kind of did the same thing for her when she came out as lesbian. She was like, you know, if you're going to talk bad about her, you have to go through me first. So they were just really there for each other.
Love that.
Yeah. So who's your badass bitch?
So my badass bitch is Lisbeth Salander. She's the main character in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. This is a series by Stieg Larsson. For those of you who don't know, Stieg Larsson died 3 volumes into the series, and so it's been picked up by Lagercroft, I think his name is, or it doesn't matter because I don't like it. So I stopped reading.
Irrelevant.
Yeah. I stopped reading them because he just didn't get Lisbeth, at least not my Lisbeth. So it's about a young girl whose mother marries her stepfather, and he is an abusive man. He abuses the mother, he abuses the girls, Elizabeth and her sister. She grows up in a very toxic atmosphere. So her mother dies, and she's left alone kind of in the system in Sweden. The book is based on Sweden. In Sweden, by the way. Sorry, yeah, he's a Swedish. This is a translation of the Swedish stories, and so Lisbeth is determined to not be victimized ever again in any way. So she really grows and it's more fueled by anger than anything else. She's got this rage. She certainly is not. She's very flawed. She's got issues. Everything is fueled by rage, but it works for her. She goes out. She takes like self-defense classes, and she's very small. She's very thin and very small, so it's important for her to be able to know how to defend herself against someone bigger. Yeah. She also is a hacker. So cool. It is really cool because she can go into, you know, people's bank accounts. She can go into people's, you know, personal computers and find out stuff about them, which is really important in the first book because her social worker is taking advantage of her.
Oh my gosh.
So she decides, and just a trigger warning, what happens to her in the book is pretty serious stuff. So keep that in mind when you read it, but do read it because it's delicious revenge porn. So, so you know, she fixes that problem swiftly. And but anyway, the second and third books are all out. There's also the first 3 movies done in Swedish, and then there's 3 of the first volumes.
So you said
4. The 4th volume, they did do one of his. So there are 4 American movies.
Okay. Yeah. You said that you stopped reading after the first 3. Is it like a
Mm.
satisfying conclusion after the first 3, or like were you kind of left on a cliffhanger?
I don't remember if it was a cliffhanger, but I feel like I'd rather have the Elizabeth that I know and love than to have
she's that good.
Yeah, like she's just that amazing, some of the mistakes were like glaringly poor. Like she in the Larsson Lisbeth was in a band, like in a kind of like a punk rock band, and in the other books, the author described her as having a very mathematical mind who didn't understand music, and I was like, did you not read the first 3 books?
Oh, that's so stupid.
Yeah, it was bad. So
that's annoying.
Yeah, so it was not my Lisbeth. You may like her. I know a lot of people still check them out, you know, but she is probably by far the baddest ass bitch that I know.
I'm definitely gonna have to give it a read.
Yeah, you have to give it a read.
You make her sound so awesome.
Oh my god, and it's so satisfying too. So.
Yeah, I love that. I love revenge. You know?
Yeah, me too. I think that's it for today's badass bitches.
But there will be more. I have a lot in my brain that I want to talk about. So,
thanks so much for your time.
yep, definitely subscribe if you liked this or if you want to follow along with us. We will be posting more soon. So, thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.